what do these men have in common? For one, they have all scored big goals in a Champions League final. Arjen Robben in 2013, Neymar in 2015, Gareth Bale in 2018, Kingsley Coman in 2020, Kai Havertz in 2021 and Vinicius Junior in 2022. Players widely considered wingers scored winning goals in half of the last 10 Champions League finals. That used to be different. It was always the central strikers who scored the decisive goals, or sometimes the attacking midfielders. But the winger and their role on the pitch have changed. And it's not just wingers that have evolved. We'll show you whether it's the Champions League final or Sunday League, like here at Berlin's Lichtenberg 47, how the winger changed football.
Man weiß schon, dass man selbst mit einer Aktion das Spiel entscheiden kann und es auch viel sozusagen offensive Last auf den Außen mittlerweile liegt.
Du kannst auf der Position halt am kreativsten sein. Du kannst dich komplett ausleben.
Mehr Torgefahr muss ausgestrahlt werden. Das ist, glaube ich, der moderne Flügelspieler auch heutzutage.
The first attribute needed to perform as a winger for 90 minutes or more is stamina. That's because these days, wingers run more than any other position. Studies show that central defenders run the fewest kilometers a game, almost 1.5 fewer than wingers. Strikers run a bit more than that, and third place goes to fullbacks. Central midfielders are just behind wingers in second. Football's winger is also right up there compared to other sports. Aussie rules football requires its athletes to cover the longest distance per match, 15.6 kilometers on average. Football, fueled by those non-stop wingers, comes next. Rugby comes in third, followed by field hockey, basketball, handball, and tennis. American football players run an average of just 2 kilometers per game. Baseball players just a whopping 60 meters. One more thing, we are not talking about the superstars who sometimes get labeled as wingers. We'll focus on the true attacking wingers who have changed the game in recent years, the ones who also have to do a lot defensively. The wingers we're talking about can be found out here, on the right or left side of the pitch. Whether in a 4-3-3, a 3-4-3, or a 4-2-3-1. Wingers have to be able to hit good, accurate crosses and dribble extremely well. Plus, they have to love looking for one-on-one situations, which is a reason why many wingers love their position.
Wenn man die meisten einzigen Situationen hat auf dem Spielfeld, am meisten selbst kreieren kann.
Man sollte immer den Mut dazu haben, diese einzige Situation zu suchen.
Our friends at StatsBomb have analysed dribblings for us, using a model that rates how effectively wingers bring the ball into dangerous situations. It's called the dribble and carry on ball value, rating a player's effectiveness on the ball. We looked at the best wingers in the top 5 European leagues. This includes all attacking midfielders, by the way. Real Madrid's Vinicius Junior with a rating of 0.23 has the third highest value in Europe. The La Liga average is 0.10. Bayern's Serge Gnabry's rating of 0.25 makes him Europe's second highest ranked player when it comes to carrying the ball into dangerous zones. The Bundesliga average is 0.11. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Napoli's Georgian winger wunderkind, tops the charts with 0.31, massively eclipsing the Serie A average of 0.10.
Eine Qualität ist auf jeden Fall, dass du deinen Mann schlagen kannst, sozusagen, also an einem vorbeigehen kannst. Und dass du dann halt auch ein bisschen das Gespür für die richtige Entscheidung hast vor dem Tor.
But it's not just about goals. This prototypical defensive move from Karim Adeyemi shows that wingers have newfound defensive responsibility.
Muss die Rückwärtsbewegung genauso gut annehmen wie die Vorwärtsbewegung, sprich Löcher stopfen.
Back in the 70s, as these examples show, wingers were solely occupied with attacking. And in the 90s, like Luis Figo here, they also focused on their side. Dribble, hit crosses, rack up assists. But the main focus was on the middle of the pitch, with central midfielders and strikers getting the glory. Wingers saw much less of the pitch than they do today, and therefore did less running. They just weren't as involved as their modern counterparts. This was partly because they didn't have the pace. Whether it was Litbarski, Pires, Beckham, Giggs, Camoranesi, Echevarria, they all ran less and were slower out wide. As we can see here, mileage on the ball for Coman and co. has jumped 20% in recent years. It's also up without the ball, as are sprints.
Man muss eine ordentliche Geschwindigkeit haben.
4 of the 10 fastest footballers in top leagues often play as wingers. Ousmane Dembele, Phil Foden, Mason Greenwood, and Adama Traore. When Usain Bolt broke the 100-meter record, his average speed was 37 kilometers per hour. His top speed, 44 kilometers per hour. But Bolt only runs one race and then takes a shower. Wingers, however, sprint quite a few times a game, and they have the least recovery time between their sprints in football. Most crucially, the modern winger does a lot more scoring. Just ask Filip Kostic. From the early 90s to 2017, Premier League top scorers were centre-forwards, without exception. Since then, 4 wingers and only 3 centre-forwards have led the world's best league in scoring. There have always been wingers who scored a lot, but for a few years now, this group has expanded significantly. Wingers score more in general, and a lot of them are decisive goals, like in the past decade of Champions League finals. But they still provide plenty of assists too. In 2021-22, the Prem's top 3 assist kings spent plenty of time on the wing. Attacking wingers Mo Salah and Jared Bowen, plus right-back Trent Alexander-Arnold. While assists were always part of the winger's job, they now often have more helpers than attacking midfielders or strikers. What is new is that wingers are now 2-in-1, a hybrid attacker that assists and scores goals.
Ich fordere es immer von meinen Flügelspielern, nicht nur Vorlagen zu bringen, sondern auch selber torgefährlich werden und auch die Gier dazu haben, danach zu haben, ein Tor zu machen.
Wenn du nur Assist bringst, glaube ich, bist du gut, aber Tore bringen ist ein Muss auch. Also ich glaube, das ist die einzige Position, vielleicht noch ein bisschen mit Zehnern, wo beides sehr, sehr wichtig ist.
And that's how wingers have changed Europe's top leagues. Wingers have been in the top 15 in goal contributions, meaning both goals and assists, in the Premier League much more frequently in recent years. In 2011-12, only 3 wingers cracked the top 15. A season later, same story. In 2013-14, only 1 made it. Centre-forwards and central attacking midfielders dominated. This changed in 2017-18, when 5 out of the top 15 were wingers. In 2018-19, almost half of the top 15 were wingers. Then 6, another 6, and again 6 out of 15 in 2021-22. Wingers also contribute ever more goals in other leagues. In La Liga, the top 15 was long packed with strikers and attacking midfielders. Only a couple wingers would make the cut. But 2021-22 suddenly saw 2 wingers towards the top and 4 of them in the top 10. And all of them were hybrids, notching more goals than assists. Same in the Bundesliga. 10 years ago, only 2 wingers made the top 15. In the 21-22 season, that jumped to 5 out of 15. However, unlike in England or Spain, here wingers don't hold the very top spots. Centre forwards have dominated the Bundesliga goal contribution charts for years.
Abnehmer ist immer gut für einen Flügelspieler, da sieht man auch gut aus. Ne? Da kann man auch ein bisschen Verantwortung abgeben sozusagen an den Stürmer.
Strikers like Benzema, Kane, Lewandowski and Haaland are still top scorers for their clubs. After all, bagging goals is their job. It's their real focus.
Früher waren ja auch manchmal Dribbler-Stürmer. Die findet man kaum noch vorne, die sind jetzt alle mehr nach außen gezogen.
This means that much of football's creativity has moved out wide. That's where we are more likely to see special, unexpected moments. It's important to remember that these days, there's not one set way wingers play. Some stay wide, burst to the byline and cross, others drift inside to shoot. And remember, the actions we're focusing on now are just as important in the attack as in defense. On-ball value measures how likely an action on the ball is to create goals, as well as how likely it is to lower the chance of an opposition goal. With 0.57, Phil Foden has the third best on-ball value of wingers and attacking midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues. The Premier League average is 0.21. Serge Gnabry's 0.62 is second best and smashes the Bundesliga average of 0.26. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia again leads the pack with 0.69. The average on-ball value for Serie A wingers and attacking midfielders is 0.20. Now it's all about attack. The XG, or expected goals value, measures a player's likelihood of scoring in a match based on quality of chances. Sadio Mane and Mo Salah have an XG rating of 0.49 goals a game. Ferran Torres has 0.51 and Serge Gnabry has 0.55. They're expected to score roughly every other game, a rate more than double their league averages. And Ansu Fati's XG rating is untouchable. The Barca winger is good for an expected 1.02 goals a game.
Ich glaube, du kannst auf der Position halt am kreativsten sein. Du kannst dich komplett ausleben. Ich glaube, das ist so ein bisschen so die Position, wo man am meisten Spaß hat im Fußball.
Wingers are increasingly decisive players that shape whether or not their teams are successful.
Ich würde sagen, es spielen immer weniger Leute mit dem klassischen Zehner in den letzten Jahren. Und der hatte ja meistens die Aufgabe zu kreieren, Tore zu schießen, vor allem Vorlagen zu geben. Und dieses ganze Kreativität ist auf die Außen übergegangen, würde ich sagen.
Today, more than ever, it's up to wingers to keep the attack alive. Without threats out wide, your offense will eventually grind to a halt.
Ja, es ist ein bisschen wie im Basketball Point Guard sein.
Point guards like Steph Curry here are the build-up players. They have a good overview and understanding of the game. They run plays, distribute the ball and initiate offensive actions, just like wingers in football.
Gerade in der gegnerischen Zone im dritten Drittel sozusagen, sollen sie auch egoistisch sein.
But why has the creative element, and thus the often game-changing element, moved out to the wings?
Weil die Räume sind auf dem Flügel, weil das Tor im Zentrum steht und das Tor gesichert wird. Ne?
Ist nicht alles so sozusagen auf einen Fleck konzentriert wie im Zentrum.
Ich meine, das ist, glaube ich, die Position, die im Fußball sozusagen das Highlight ist.
And that's how the winger changed football. Or maybe that should be how football changed the winger.